Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back to our weekly video, which is Weekend Tech Talk, here with me, Akmal Faik Mamaranyan, as a host, and also Muhammad Mas for speaker. And today's video, we will talk about To-Do app with React. So for further material, it will be presented by Mas. So time and place is yours.
Okay, thank you, Akmal. Thank you for the introduction here. So yeah, today we are going to be building a to-do app with React. In my last weekend tech talk, I talked about what is React and the benefits of it and why should we use it, and I gave some little examples of it, like what is the difference between uh, vanilla JS, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and with React, a library thing, so building websites, actually single page applications with it. So so without any further ado, I'm just gonna dive into building the project here. So it is going to be a project based learning. Yeah, so it is going to be very basic project. So like I'm not going to focus more on styles, rather I'm gonna focus more on the logic things and how the things are really working in React. So here I'm gonna quickly share my screen here. So I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, so uh, I will show my screen here. Okay. Um. Okay. So to do app with React. There are going to be a couple of concepts that we are going to be sharing here. So one of them is going to be like uh, the state, like how do we handle states and rendering the to-dos in the app. So actually I'm not going to make it so complex, because I have seen a lot of tutorials, like seeing people who are giving tutorials on React, saying, building a to-do app with Redux and context API. Yeah, these are some kind of intermediate ones, but for now I'm going to take it to a little, making it very basic, and for you as a beginner, whether you are a beginner or an advanced, it is going to be a knowledgeable thing today. So let me here open my terminal. So here I'm gonna open my terminal here. Let's so here share screen. So here I'm gonna open the okay. So here's my terminal. Okay, so I'll just give you a like walkthrough from very starting. So maybe like you can try to make it so you to get started, you can do like yarn create. If you prefer yarn or npm, it's up to you. I prefer yarn here, so you can use yarn create white. So it will ask you some questions, so you can make a React project with white rather than using React app. So I think it's more simpler and a better approach, than React create React app. So here I can name my project here, as I already have created the project here. So I'm just gonna dive into it. So here is my main file app.tsx. So actually I'm using TypeScript in this project. So you don't have to worry about TypeScript. Actually it is same as JavaScript, but you can say TypeScript is JavaScript, but JavaScript is not TypeScript. So TypeScript is kind of superset of it, but so you don't really have to worry about it. It is going to be the same, just I'm going to have some little types and the things. So it is going to be a little fun here. So I'm gonna start the server here, yarn dev. Okay, so I'm gonna go into to-do list directory first. Here I can see, so the my environment is kind of terminalish. So let's see. So I'm gonna run yarndev command again to run my server here. Okay, so my the server is running on localhost 5173 port here. So let me open let me open it first. So I'm gonna open localhost one. So here you can hopefully see. Okay, so there is nothing being shown. So here, so let's see if I like maybe. So let me do something for a test to be sure that like it is being rendered. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna render a h1 tag. So I'm gonna say yes, it's being rendered for instance. So I'm just save it, and okay, it is being rendered actually. Now here as my code editor, I'm using Vim here instead of Visual Studio Code, as it is a most preferred one. But here I'm using Vim, so the theme is kind of VS Codish. So okay, so now things are kind of working. So let me create a input first here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a input div, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make an input here. So the placeholder is going to be uh, maybe your to do, like this. It can be like this, and I think yeah, that's it for now. And there's going to be a button which is going to be saying like add to do, like yeah, like add to do. And I'm gonna name this, maybe I'm gonna give it a class so later I can style it a little bit. So I'm gonna give a class of maybe add to do. So here I'm also gonna give this a class here, so I can make them in a row, not in a column. So I'm gonna style them a little bit, a little bit here. So maybe input to do. So actually I have wrote the styles here, so you can see input to do, add to do. So I'm gonna add to do. Okay, so a little bit more about. Okay, so this is our. So this is what we can see. So it is already being it's already actually I already have designed it. So let me first walk you through with app.css file. You don't have to worry about this root thing for now. So let's just dive into the what is happening here, little like a little little overview of the style things. uh, but our main focus is going to be on React itself. Okay, so what is happening here? We'll style. So let me open this in here maybe. So app.css. Okay, so what is happening? So here I'm styling input. So I'm gonna give it a padding from top, left, bottom, right. I'm gonna give a padding of 10, and I'm gonna add extra 15 pixel of padding from top to bottom. And the border radius of my input is going to be maybe 10 pixels, and the width of is going to be 20 rem. It's just estimated value for like from me. And the border color is maybe just slate gray. It doesn't matter really, to be honest. So, and this input to dot div, I'm going to style it as, so I'm going to make it a flex, and I'm going to give a column gap of 1 rem. So if I give it 0, the gap is going to be vanished. So here if I give it 1, so it looks good because there is a space. And I'm gonna align and justify content center here. So nothing new, like if you have studied a basic of HTML and CSS, so it is not going to be uh, any big deal of it. And again I wanted to say that uh, so there is going to be little tips from me actually. So if you want to learn React, I would highly recommend you, before diving into any library or a framework thing, I would rather suggest you to learn the basics first, like the fundamentals like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. You have to master these things first. Later you can master the frameworks in the libraries of it, because frameworks come and go. Because big companies like Google and Amazon, they're not going to have interview of what is React and things in front of development perspective. So they're going to ask you questions about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So because they know that frameworks come and go, so because technology updates and upgrades, so that's why the fundamentals are important here. So okay, back again in here. So this is add to do. Add to do, what I'm doing here is this is the add to do class. So I'm giving a little styles here, like giving a width of 80 pixels. So let me make it a little like more wider here, maybe like 100 pixels. Let's see how does it look like. Okay, let me save it first. Okay, what is happening? Maybe 20. Okay, 120 pixels working. Okay, so it looks a little better than before. And again, I'm gonna increase the font size here, maybe 1.5 rem, so to say. Let's see how does it look like. Okay, it's big actually. Well, I think it looks good, but I'm gonna decrease it like 1.2 here. Again, maybe just give it 1 ram here. Okay, I think it looks good here. And here I'm giving a padding from top to bottom, left to right of 10 pixels. And so if I just remove it, you can see the padding is gone. So I'm gonna recommend it, uncomment it. And here I'm giving the background of slate gray, so I can change it to spring green as well. So but I think the slate gray looks kind of better, but here I'm not focusing more on design things. Okay, so I'm giving font weight of 500. Let's kind of increase it and let's what happens. Well, let's increase it in here too. So I'm gonna give it the same font size. Okay. Okay. It looks good actually, but what if we? Okay, I think it looks good because we are not really focusing on the design here. Actually, our main goal is going to be focusing more on React itself. Okay, so I think that's more. That's all about the design thing here. Okay, so here what I'm gonna do is, okay, so I'm gonna define some state values here. So I'm gonna be using React hooks here rather than using class components, which is kind of now old. But I'm gonna be using React hooks here. So I'm gonna define a state here, my state. So my state. So so there are going to be a couple of things here. First first state variable is going to be it is going to be for the input to store value of input to do actually, because we have to store this value, whatever we're typing here. We have to store this value in a variable so it can be updated and can be used later on to add the to do in the list. So you will know what I'm talking about in a few moments. Okay, and the other state is might going to be about our list of to dos. So here I'm just using like local list. I mean, it is not going to be just a simple project, just to get the understanding of state and the how things are really working in React. So here I'm rendering this, so a parent div, and in that div we have another div, and here I'm just simply rendering two elements. One of them is input and the other one is button. Okay, so let's dive into it. So I'm gonna make const maybe input to do, or I'm gonna use camel case here. Input to do, set input to do. So for this I'm gonna use state hook. So I'm gonna auto import it. I'm gonna give the initial value like null, like not null but nothing. It is going to be empty for now, but I know it is going to be a string. So I'm gonna give it a type of string. You don't have to worry about this because it's a type for my state. So it is going to be a string. So okay, looks good. And here I'm gonna give uh okay, maybe to do's, set to do's. So this is going to be my state variable that will hold the value of my all to do's that I'm going to store into it. Okay, so here I'm gonna say like an empty array for now, and it is going to be an array. Yeah, it is going to be an array, but also it is going to be an array of maybe object. Okay, so maybe it is going to be an array of an object. So like this, it could be like this. So let me define some default to do's to start working with it. So let me define the to do's here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is maybe, so for each to do I'm gonna have a id. So id to do, to do maybe, or text you can say for now, or maybe do dishes for instance here. And I think that's it for the to do. Let me just copy and paste for like for a few times to get started with it. So the id is going to be changed. So oh yeah, so now I'm gonna change the text too as well. So it is just for the, what is it, for the to get started with it. So let me just change it like maybe for something is here to do, to get done maybe. Here I'm gonna say, and maybe bar another to do. I'm gonna just remove it for now. Three to dos are enough for now to start with. So I'm gonna remove it instead. Okay. So I think let's now. So actually, if you're confused about what is this, like this thing, you don't have to worry about this because it's TypeScript syntax, and you don't have to worry about it. It is just saying that the thing that I'm storing in this state variable to do's, it is going to be array an array of objects. So it's simple to understand, but you don't really have to worry about if you still having a confusion about it. So it's up to you if you want to write this or not, but it is for type checking and the things. So it is better to write it in TypeScript actually, not in JavaScript. Okay, so let's first get done, like first let's first work on storing this input value. So what I'm gonna do is maybe like render here in a p tag input to do. So let's see what is it. So it's nothing because I haven't typed anything, but still it is not showing anything here. So it is not showing anything because I'm not doing anything on the typing. Whenever I type, I'm not doing anything. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a value of input to do. And whenever it is going, okay, so the value of this input is, but now I can't I can't type here because the value is empty string. That's why I can't type. Like to give you little like a clear example, it is going to be like test, you can type. So you see, now I can type because, and you can see the text here. So for now I'm gonna uh, make it empty again. So whenever I'm going to start typing, I have to do an action. I have to take an action. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say whenever, like there's a method on this input, I can say on change. So what I'm gonna do is on change. So it is going to take in parameter e, which refers to the event things happening here. So it is going to take a function here. So I'm going to call a function which is going to take one parameter which is e, and I'm going to set input to do e dot target dot value. Now you might wonder, how do I know e dot target dot value exactly? Because I have read the docs, so you can read the docs as well. But this is e dot target dot value is going to be the thing that I'm I am writing in the form in the input. So I'm gonna save it. So here, yeah, I think it is going to be working. So let's see. Test. So yeah, it is working. It is storing the value of input to do in uh, that variable, in that state variable. Okay, so it is working actually. So so how about before doing anything, how about before doing anything we do like show this list first, the to-dos list first. So I'm gonna remove this thing, and here I'm gonna render, maybe I'm gonna render to-dos. I'm gonna map them to each one by one. To-dos dot map, and it is going to take a one parameter to do, and it is going to be maybe like this. And what it is going to do is maybe render p tag with um, with p. So it is going to say to do dot text. Okay, to do. So I'm gonna say any for now. Okay, okay, to do dot text. Okay, do dishes foo something is, so it is being rendered here. And to make it a little thing, I'm gonna give the key to do dot id. So actually, whenever you render like maybe in a map or a lot of list, you're like a big huge list is being rendered, you might try to use key because it has to be different with the other rows of the to do's. So that's why, but you don't really have to worry for now, because yeah. So all I'm doing is that I'm giving a key to do.id, because to do.id is going to be different from every, because id is going to be different from the others id of the to dos. So it is going to be unique for each row. So it is going to be easy for the React, whatever it is going to run it. It is going to be easy for it, for that thing to render it. Okay, it seems to be working here. So how about like render it in a ul? So I'm gonna make maybe ul here, and in li I'm gonna say to do dot text, and ul is going to have a key because it has to be unique. So key is going to be to do dot id. Okay. uh, I think like it doesn't look really good here, but I'm still gonna use it. But okay, let's see. Okay, so it is working here. So now let's work on what will happen if I click add to do, because test some to do here. If I do, nothing happens. So let's make it happen. Let's make it work here. So what I'm gonna do is on click, maybe on click, say alert button clicked. So just to for troubleshooting purposes, I'm gonna like just for now to make it sure that yeah, it is working. So let's see. Okay, button clicked. Okay, so let me here make a function. It is going to be an error function. So add to do. So it is going to be add to do, which is going to uh, so I'm gonna add the to do here. Okay, so here, so let's define the steps first. Okay, so if to do, like the input to do is equals to like this, if it is still empty, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say alert to do is empty, and I'm gonna return from the function. But if it is filled with some string text, I'm gonna add it. So what I'm gonna do is set to do's, set to do's, So here what I'm gonna do is set to do's. So I'm gonna pass an array. So dot 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 to do's, the previous to do's, and here the new to do, which is going to be uh, an array here. So it is going to be like this. So let me add the object here. So the object is going to be id for now 4. It is hard typed. So id 4. Text is going to be id fourth text. Okay, let's see. And I think that's all we need to do here to make it work. So okay, I think let's see what happens. So instead of alerting something here, I'm gonna call the function add to do. Okay, so let's see if it works or not. Okay, it's working, but here we have to, the text should be test some to do here, not id fourth text. So why it is? Because I am hardly typing it. So instead of this, I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say input to do. So if I do this, okay, now it is working. So other input, yes, now it is being added in it. So yeah, it is working actually here. Okay, okay. So instead of giving id 4, I'm gonna say, so first of all I'm gonna say the length alert. I'm gonna alert the length of the to-dos. So let's find out the length of the to-dos. Okay, it is going to maybe to-dos dot. So the next id is going to be decided on the base of the previous all to-dos plus 1. So let's say all previous to-dos and plus 1. So let me see. So it is 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So then now this to do ID should be 7. Okay, okay. So it is going to be 7. Okay, the logic, our technique is working here. Okay, now what other, now our main thing is done now. For now, I'm going to remove this default list here. Okay, test. Okay, I'm going to remove this alert first. Okay, to do is empty, so it is working. Test. Okay, working. Okay, so far we have implemented the add, like add thing. So what other things does a to do app have? um it has a delete functionality, which is going to be kind of useful here. So let's try to implement a delete functionality here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna also add a button here. Maybe, so I'm gonna add a button here. So it is going to be like this, and the button is going to be delete, and I'm gonna maybe give this div class name of input to do, because this class name is basically doing the same thing, because I want to make it in a row. So let's see if it is, yeah, it is doing the same thing, see. So let me now, okay, it is working. So let me make that delete button. So I'm gonna give it, so let's style this delete button a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is delete to do. So here delete to do, I'm gonna copy and paste the add to do styles here, but the width is going to be kind of like less, and the font weight is going to be 600. Okay, padding 10 pixels, and the background color is going to be red. Okay, but I'm gonna decrease the padding slightly, and it is going to maybe 75. Okay, it is kind of good now. And here what I'm gonna do is, okay, seems good here. I mean, so now let's see what should we do here. So now on click, what should we do is delete to do. So no, we don't have this function yet, so let's make it right away. So I'm gonna make a uh, add a function here. So to do, and it is going to take an id. uh, okay, and here I'm gonna, so for now, for the sake of test, I'm gonna alert working, maybe like this, delete to do of this id, and I'm gonna just give this type of any, and it's going to be an error because I'm not passing anything here. Okay, so I'm gonna pass uh, to do.id. It is going to be like this, so it doesn't give any error. Okay, so if I just reload it, okay, delete me. Okay, so this is the id of one. Let me delete me second time. Okay, so this is the id2 and this is the id1. So it can distinguish between the ids and the to dos successfully, correctly. So here let me, so now it is working, the button is working, on click on the button is working. So now let's write the logic here. So I'm going to use filter to remove the to do. So const new to do list is going to be equals to to do's dot map to do's dot filter to do's dot filter. It is going to take a parameter. It is going to be like this: to do dot id is not equals to this id. It is going to remove it. And what's the error here? Okay. Okay, I think it is working. So now here I'm gonna set to do's new to do list. So let's see if it works. So delete me. Okay, okay, it is working. So let's try on different things. Delete me second time, delete me third time. So let's try this test on multiple to dos. Okay, okay, working. So it is working actually. So this is type of check. It is going to be any here. It's okay. So yeah, here I'm filtering the to do. So I'm gonna remove the to do as long I'm gonna add the to dos in this new to do list as long as it is not equals to this id, because I don't want this to do to be included anymore on in that list. So I'm gonna filter it. Then I'm gonna set the new to dos here. So I guess that's all for today. So the things, so I'm gonna quickly wrap the things here. So we learned uh, so actually I could have implemented like the check functionality and the things, but for now, to make it much simpler, I just want to give you the overview of the React and how the things are working with building a project to do app, which is a kind of traditional thing to do. So yeah, it was very basic and simple. We were like using minimal styles, and it is going like we just use two functions, one for add, one for delete. We use two state variables, one to store the input and one to store the list. And here we use the minimal HTML here So this is to for input, and this is here literally we're rendering the to do's here. So I hope that you liked and you enjoyed here today with me. So let me first stop sharing. So yeah, so I hope that you enjoyed and learned some of the things here. And if you uh, like if you get any questions, you can, you can research by your own things. But I hope you learned a lot of things from this, and it was much simpler than it would have been. So I think that's all. So I'm gonna give time back to host Akmal.
Okay, that was a really good presentation from Mas, and it was clearly easily to understand that his presentation is clearly clear. So I hope that this video can give you guys a lot of benefits. So thank you for watching, everyone. I think that's all for us today. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.